there's one thing that you can take away from your parents is the work ethic. I mean,
Yeah, work ethic.
it's undeniable.
Yeah.
It's undeniable.
Yeah.
They came here with that one purpose, like to make a better life for themselves, and that better life transition through work.
Well, yeah, man, because the whole model, their whole model is live on less to give us more.
Yeah.
Right. And it was like, you know what? I'll live on less, whether it's buying the small, like I'm talking about through the point of view of my dad. Like for him, living on less is I won't spend on the jeans. I won't spend on this. I won't spend on the accessories. I won't spend on the do that. I won't spend on anything. But if my kid needs that, I'll get it for him. If he needs that education, that may be private school, I'll get it to him. If he needs this because he needs to fix his teeth, I'll get it to him. And I think that's what the underlying tone is of I won't say immigrant parent because a lot of parents think like that, but you're right. It is what the main focus of an immigrant parent was.
Yeah.
Because look, if in a way we all had kind of similar parents, and we all see the virtues in our parents. We see them in our friends' parents as well.
Yeah.
Because it's almost as if they come from that same mold.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
I wonder sometimes, and I question because I worked a lot with immigrants over the last years, and one thing that you notice is that their success, the immigrant success, always skips a generation. So the immigrant that comes here doesn't really live the success. And I don't want to generalize because there are some immigrants that came and they did well, but in general, or more often than not, the immigrant that comes here is going to sacrifice his or her life, and it's the kids that are going to profit from that, right? It's the kids that are going to have a better.
Yeah, I agree.
And very often I question if at some point early on when they arrived here, did they realize that, right? Did they say, shit, this is not what we had in mind. Fuck, this is going to be harder than I thought. You know what I mean? And if they did think that, at which point did they say, you know what, fuck it, it's for my kids and whatever, I'll just eat the shit. And I just question if they were aware that they missed that boat and they weren't even gonna be on it, when
I don't know. It's a good question, George. I don't know. I don't think I have an answer. But what I do know is that whether they were educated or not, they had a pretty good grasp and a very, very vivid understanding on principles of family and foundation of family.
I agree with what you're saying, Chris, and to what George was saying. They didn't commit to anything that they weren't going to back up with all of their personal effort. So whatever they committed to, they thought of it. They knew what they were going to sacrifice moving forward. They chose.
Yeah, I'm sure they weren't expecting a result. And you know what? It was always like, I'm doing all this. And in the back of their mind is like, I hope there's gratitude. I hope there's appreciation for this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure it goes in the back of their mind. But what I'm trying to say is that without having been told or been educated, man, they understood the foundation. And the foundation today is what you don't see, or at least what's cracking today.
Yeah.
There's cracks in the foundation of family today, guys. I don't know if you see it. I don't know if you guys, the families don't eat together as much as they used to eat. Sitting around the table is not as sacred as it used to be. Yeah. Having the conversation, the one-on-one is not what it used to be. So you're starting to see a dent in the family. And I think them looking back at this, it's like they're glad they didn't sacrifice the family. They knew how to keep it together. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I often think about that too, how our way of life has been altered significantly, usually obviously through technology. I mean, right now you're on your phone, even you're sitting with your kids and your phone rings and you're preoccupied, you're looking at it, or you're scrolling through Twitter or whatever the fuck you're doing. And the fact that whole environment didn't even exist back then, right? There was one TV, if you had it. And if you had a TV, it was black and white. And if it wasn't black and white, it had that knob that had 4 channels.
Yeah.
I mean,
but everybody was around it.
Yeah, no, but that was the only piece of technology that was in the house. Yeah. Everything else was, like you said, it revolved around the family unit, right? It was the family core. Now everyone is in their, in each other's corner. doing whatever the hell they're doing with an iPad, or look, I don't know. I mean, this is the way of life, and you have to kind of accept what it is. But like you said, yeah, I don't know if you can even compare now.
No, it's different. It's different
then, right?
Yeah.
Another thing, when George, look, Panusi, we'll let you tell your story with your dad, man. Just one more point here is I lost my thought. I totally lost my thought.
Right on. We're saying how like you can't compare today with what we had back then.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I was going to make the point that another thing was that I'm sure we all have great respect for our parents, and you know what? If you were to break down the relationship between friendship and parenthood, they cared about being parents more than being friends. And I find today the people that have teenagers that I observe, right, my friends, is they're trying to be their friends a lot without being the parents. Their parents today are afraid to be hated by their kids by trying to discipline them.
Mm-hmm.
And I find what the old timers did well was that, yeah, I'll be your friend when it's time to be your friend. But 80% of the time, I'm your parent. So
Yeah.
I'll tell you things you don't want to hear. I might tell you things that you definitely don't want to hear. I will set the record straight. But you knew that it was done because they loved you. But you knew they were going to win that argument because they weren't trying to be your friend. And I find that with my dad, that's why there's a tremendous respect, because yeah, we're friends. Today we're the best friends. But there was the respect always there. I never saw him like a buddy, like I'll make fun of him or something like that. Like there was a respect, there was a distance.
Yeah.
There was this nice distance. I don't even know what to call it, but that distance was respect. But that distance is what kept us close together later on in life, I find.
Yeah.
And you can't, you need that little gap. You cannot have the same relationship you have with your kid the way he has his relationships with his friends. Your son cannot have a relationship with his dad the way he has a relationship with another friend of his.
Yeah.
That is very important. And I find today that's becoming like sometimes you don't even see the barrier. You know what I mean?